And the lovely and talented Kira is here. Millennium, good to see you. And as we scroll on down, there's my other wrench, the Princess Denali. She is the official princess of Spaced Out Radio. The gorgeous Jessica McCreary is here. The Jim Christie, everyone. The Jim Christie is here. All right, scrolling on down. Butch Witkowski, how you doing in the chat room? TH, thank you so much for that super chat. Really do appreciate it. It's a great way to support what we do on this show. And thank you so much. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hey, Eric with a K. Nice to see you. Bigfoot Rob, nice to have you back. Thanks for the chats earlier on text this morning, Rob. Appreciate that. Michael Lestuca, good to see you, my friend. Super Ron and Project Blue Book are here. Cherry Pepsi Mike, what's going on? Hey, Murray F., thanks for joining us. Richard Elmore, appreciate you coming back. Hey, Kevin, I'm going to run out of time. J1 and Jurassic Joey, thank you for joining us. My goodness, there's a lot of people in here already. I'm going to have to put a pause on that. Hey, Mondak Jose, how are you? And if I missed anyone, I will say hello in the chat. Make sure you give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways. If you're new, hit that subscribe button. Butch Witkowski starts right now. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free for you by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Oh, yes. It's what you guys have been waiting for a whole month. He is back, and back with a vengeance. It's Butch Witkowski from UFOcop.com is here for Strange Days. Butch joins us near the end of each month to talk about everything that's going on in the cryptid world, UFO world, paranormal world, and his world, and his own investigations as well. A former cop, Butch now spends his retirement chasing the monsters that lurk in the forest and haunt us at night. It's a fun yet tedious job where tripping on legends may one day lead to some answers. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Mr. Butch Witkowski, always a pleasure to have you on Spaced Out Radio. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. Pleasure to be on.
Pleasure to have you here as well. What have you been up to? You getting ready? The snow is melting. You starting to get some monster talk going on?
Well, everything is scheduled now. It's just, like I was saying earlier when I talked to you, that we had really great weather, and then all of a sudden it just turned to crap pretty much overnight. And now we have temperatures dropping down into the 20s overnight tonight, which is not good.
We had a blizzard. We had a blizzard here to end the weekend.
Man, that's bad.
Yeah. It's like, come on. Like, I'm done with this. I'm totally done with this. But what do you do? Mother Nature apparently has a different plan so far.
Well, I'm just waiting for it to clear up. We've had some really good clear skies. So, we could get out and do that kind of stuff, watch sky watch and stuff. But as far as getting into the woods and getting into these old abandoned caves and homes and stuff like that, we just really need an area where we can get into without getting stuck in the mud somewhere.
Well, I got to ask you, now that you're driving a scooter around, how you got it 4x4 mode where you could get into all of these strange places?
Yeah, we have an Ford Explorer besides the Transit. The Transit's the big van, and then we have the Explorer. That's all-wheel drive.
Awesome. I meant your scooter, though.
Oh, that one.
I'm trying here, Butch. You can get mad at me if you want. You can get mad at me. It's okay.
You're a piece of work.
I am. I do try. Part of my job is to fire you up because, I mean, I got to admit, when you get a little cranky here, you know, you produce some of the best radio that I think is out there in this field. It's honest, it's very to the point, and it's very direct at what's right and what's wrong with this field. We're going to get into something like that a little bit later on in the show. But for you, Butch, we always have new audience members tuning in for the first time and learning about you. Why did you decide that after you retired from your jobs, you've had a couple of long careers, one in law enforcement, one in the private sector. Why did you decide that monsters were the way you wanted to spend your retirement?
Well, you know, it was just a bug that bit me, you know, back in the late '80s with a sighting, and over time I got to meet some real good researchers. Some of them was passed away by now or have passed away, but it was really neat, like talking to one of the gentlemen that was at Holloman Air Force Base when the alleged president met with the UFO people on the tarmac. I mean, just to hear him and talk to him, as a matter of fact, twice. I actually met him in Washington, D.C. at a conference. And then I was doing a conference out in Kansas City, Lawrence, Kansas, and he showed up out there. So, and sadly he's passed also. But, I mean, some of the great people that I've met have just instilled in me, like, you're looking for something, right? And I'd go like, yeah. And they say, it's the truth, right? And I'd go like, yeah. And they say, well, just keep at it. So, okay. So that's the way it's been. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's not even, it's a quest. I mean, it's like looking for the Holy Grail. I mean, there's a lot of good information out there. Now you got Senator Rubio down in Florida. He's all cranked up about UFOs, and he wants the government to come clean, which I doubt is going to happen. But more and more people are finally coming to the realization that there are things up there that we do not know about. I mean, they are not ours. They're not some other countries. They're not even probably from this universe or whatever, but they're there. They've been there for a long, long time. They do answer a lot of questions with the type of things that have been seen and photographed and videoed and everything else. So it's really just been, you know, ready to rock and roll.
Okay, I want to ask you, because you've done this for a long time now, and one of the biggest issues that we seem to have in this field is people really are no longer wanting to take the eyewitness account as proper information or proper evidence that something weird is going on. Because, as you know, as being a police officer, a former police officer, you know that eyewitness testimony can be flawed and flawed badly at times. You know,
Yep.
So how do you balance the fact that eyewitness testimony is very important in this field, as well as, you know, trying to play the scientific part where you need that hardcore evidence?
Well, you know, when you take a report, especially if you're doing it face to face, I mean, you can tell what's going on. I mean, stature of the person you're talking to, how they're describing what they've seen. They're hesitant on some things. You know, there's like a fear they have that readily shows itself. But you can't say that everybody's been mistaken. Now, that said, you have a lot of misinformation, a lot of disinformation, and a lot of things that people think, you know, like Star Trek, Star Wars, all that stuff has really corrupted a lot of people. But there are just especially the multi-witness sightings. Those are always the best because, if one guy sees it and, then there's another witness and another witness and another witness, especially if they don't know each other and they don't live close to each other, but they're in the same neighborhood, or the same area and they see in that. Or we had a case, 5, 6 years ago where a 3 craft, unknown craft, were seen flying above a nuclear power station in northern Pennsylvania. And, now the guy wasn't a researcher or anything like that, but he took a lot of pictures. And there were cars lined up on both sides of a 4-lane highway, and people standing outside the cars looking and pointing. So, those things do exist. People on the outright usually tell you the truth. If they try and snowball you with, film or photograph or something like that, we can readily check that out real quick. And then you got it's like, amen, we got you. But it's been interesting. I met a lot of nice people, a lot of smart people. I met some real dorks, but on the whole, I think that the older researchers are really go-getters. When I say go-getters, I mean, they jump in their car or they get out and wear out a pair of shoes, where the newer generation of researchers is more akin to electronics, the computers and stuff like that. And that goes for not only UFOs, but that's everything. That's paranormal. It's cryptid stuff. So it's been really interesting. Where I don't think if I didn't get into it the way I did, and for as long as I have been, I wouldn't have, what I was looking for. I have my feelings on things that I think are true and correct. There are things that bother me, and I'll just jump into the Bigfoot thing. These reports of a flash of light and there's a sighting of a Bigfoot, or there's a flash of light and the Bigfoot disappears. So what's with the flash of light? And some researchers have, their own opinion, but a flash of light, that's kind of hard to put an opinion on. I mean, it happens. Then you have some people say, well, they're not interdimensional or anything like that because they've been seen eating roadkills and stuff like that. Well, that may be, but who's to say that interdimensional beings, if that is fact, doesn't need to eat? So, it just seems like when you go down one little road on a piece of information, you wind up on 5 or 6 different lanes, going in all kinds of directions. A lot of the sightings, especially cryptid sightings, have really died down in the middle of our country, where up in your area and eastern Canada and way south and southwest, these things are just popping up like on a daily basis. And unfortunately, there are not a lot of researchers in those areas. So I always try to get the word out that, that we need researchers. We need people out there. I mean, even if they're not going to get out in the field, at least they could do research for some of these folks, which takes up a lot of time, and it is time consuming. But I don't know. The bug bit me and it stayed, Dave. It just didn't go away. I'm just as cranked today looking for this stuff as I was 35 years ago.
I know it's hard work because, look, it's tedious out there. Mm-hmm. You don't go out into the forest for 8, 9, 10 hours a day or 24 hours and sit there and do nothing, because the chances of you actually experiencing something are a very low percentage. So how do you keep the drive going when when you're out in the field, the chances of you actually accomplishing something or hearing something, seeing something, getting that video, getting something on FLIR, whatever it may be, is very slim?
Mm-hmm. Well, when you like, okay, you're out there, you're out for a weekend or you're out for the whole week, there's so many things to look for. I mean, there's, you got to set up camera traps. They got to be checked. You got to set up look for footprints. That stuff got to be checked. I mean, there's so many things that you have to do that you're so busy, you don't really realize how much time you're spending, walking around in the field or, and then there's always the sit down for a meal with the guys and, everybody's discussing what they thought or what they think, or we always have prior reports with us for an area that we're in. And, that it all plays a part. It's almost like a business you got to watch. I mean, you've got your product out in the field and you're trying to sell it to whatever's out in the field that you're looking for to sell it to. And so you're trying everything you can, whether it's listening devices or it's camera setups or Wi-Fi traps or, any of that stuff. And it's one of those things where the more you have researchers now, and there's a lot of them getting involved, and a lot of the older guys either gave it up or, the wife said, no, we're moving to Florida and you're going to play golf for the rest of your life. It is one of those things where we have such I wouldn't say an enormous group, but a very large group, especially in the cryptid field and the UFO field. Not so much the paranormal, but it's really cool because, there was a time when if you found out something like, if I had something happen in British Columbia, well, I know one person in British Columbia, you. So that was one phone call. But that one phone call, I've got hooked up with other people through you, as I have with, I didn't know anybody really in upstate northern New York, and I made a couple contacts up there. Now I got like 8 or 10 people. So if it is, on the ufology end, the older group has kind of went away. They're more apt to be writing books right now or talking on TV, but the younger groups are still out there doing star watches. They're doing investigations. They're taking samples. They're whatever they got to do, radiation samples or infraction samples, anything. They're out there doing it, which these guys never did because that equipment didn't really exist in their time. So they're kind of like, it's like a night and day when you're talking about researchers, when you're talking about the guys that were out there then, back, what I'm saying then, 20 years ago, as opposed to the guys that are out there now that are really savvy. And that's carried on into the cryptid field, that's carried on into the paranormal field to a point. But again, I always go back to the television shows and the movies and stuff. They're okay to watch, but some people really take them to heart and they think that's the way it has to be done. And that's not the way it's done. And so if you want to get bored and stare at the stars a lot with your mouth open looking like a fly trap, ufology's your bag. If you want to get eaten by bugs and bitten by bees and crapped on by birds while you're sitting around a campfire in the middle of the night freezing your can off, then you should be a cryptid investigator. But it's really what it is just that hunt for the truth. I mean, it just gets to you. You want an answer. That's what it comes down to. I want the answer. I mean, I can listen to reports all day long. I can read reports all day long. I can read books till they come out of my ears. But I'm not getting that answer where I can look at myself in the mirror and say, like, you did it, you found it, you got it, you have the information, it's a good, everything's good, let's do it. And then you do what you want to do with it. And with me, I would be sharing it with a 14 team. So
I want to ask,
the way it goes.
Yeah, we got about 5 minutes here before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Butch Witkowski from UFOcop.com is our guest. Butch, when you're out in the field and there's not much going on, but you're in one of the hot spots, otherwise you wouldn't be there, how do you try and lure in these creatures in order to get close to them or get some sort of evidence?
Well, I'm not one of those running through the woods with a flaming torch or throwing bacon out all over the place, but
That's
sound.
With bacon, that's how you attract the Canadians.
Yeah, yeah, right. But no, using sound. I don't mean whacking on trees with a baseball bat or anything like that, but I mean like we have sound. We have 2 sound recorders, which we have a variety of animal calls on there. We did load into the one some Bigfoot calls that were deemed pretty credible from out in the Northwest in Washington and Oregon. So, and then you wait. I mean, that's all you can do. You wait.
But do you put out food? Do you put out urine samples of animals? What do you do?
No, we don't do any of that because when you do stuff like that, it usually draws animals that you don't want.
So how do you attract a cryptid then?
Right now, we've been using wolf calls, wolf mating calls, injured wolf calls, and a lot of camera traps. Because you don't set up your whole command center, whatever you want to call it, where everybody's at, anywhere near where you're putting the cameras. So the cameras may be a quarter of a mile or half a mile away in any directions, and then you have your tripwires out. So those are usually out at 150, 200 yards in case something comes through, it trips the tripwire, and then you have a light go on or a buzzer, however you have it set up. But it's tedious, I will say that, and sometimes it's boring, and sometimes I've been talking to guys that have actually fallen asleep while I've talking to them. But there's always something happening, and one of the biggest things that we always found was that when we were in an area where there were cryptid reports or anything like that, you had that silence that falls in the woods. A predator is close. Now, I'm not saying it has to be a cryptid, but it could be a bear, it could be anything. But when that silence, when you have that for 2 or 3 or 4 days in a row, and you don't hear anything, not a sound, something's up, something's there, something's watching you, and the trick is now to watch them, or figure out a way to watch them. But and we're getting we are going to get involved in the DNA from streams and stuff like that. We've got a company in California that's going to build it for us, so that's going to help a lot. I'm probably feeling more that we're going to get more into the Bigfoot realm with that than we are with the cryptids.
Why is that?
I don't know. There's so many more reports of Bigfoot than cryptids. But now, again, you got to stop and think about that for a minute. Are they misidentifying something? I mean, is it a bear standing up and now it's a Bigfoot, or is it a cryptid, or all that stuff? I mean, and at night you can't go to sleep, so you're out there with your night vision, your thermal imaging devices. You turn all your cameras on the thermal image. You set everything gets set up different for nighttime. But at the same time, and it's happened a lot where we'll be out in the field looking for something like that, and next thing you know, there's something strange in the sky, and all of a sudden cameras are going off and binoculars are coming up and stuff like that, which is also cool because there have been some really good reports where things were happening on the ground that had nothing to do with anything in the sky at that point by the researchers, and there was a whole lot going on in the sky.
Right.
Especially in paranormal.
Well, Butch, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because when we come back, I want to get to British Columbia here and a group out here that wants to put together some amateur research over a couple of months, and I want to get your opinion of it. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days on Spaced Out Radio happens near the end of every month, where Butch comes in talking about everything going on in the cryptid supernatural world. We'll be back with more Spaced Out Radio right after this. Cherry Pepsi Mike, I read that right on my extra and you made me laugh. He goes, they're misidentifying Dave Scott and that Neanderthal beard as Bigfoot. Oh, God, that's awesome. That is awesome. Oh, man. Man, we got 119 people in the first half hour. It's pretty cool. My little guy asked me to shave the beard off. He's tired of the beard. So I told him point blank, if he grabs the clippers, I'll let him shave it. And he's like, no, Daddy, no. And I'm like, come on, you got to do it. Hey, Fapster, what's going on? Where you been hiding? Hey, Butch, have you been watching this pissing contest between Travis Walton and Mike Rogers on Facebook?
A little bit.
Holy
a
cow. They've dropped the gloves.
Yeah. But that happens a lot. It really does. It's usually between guys that write books on the same subject. Like, I remember when Skinwalker Ranch book came out, and then either right before it or right after it, another Skinwalker book came out, and then that war started for about 6 months. But get your act together, guys.
One second. All right. Hey, Magnus, what's going on? Bombshell Bomber, nice to see you. Let's see here. Hey, Gil, just so you know, comments like that are not going to make it through. They are not going to make it through. Be nice, Gil. Put the Aqua Velva back up on the medicine cabinet, top shelf. You've had enough. All right? Give me a second here. Oh, hey, Clam. Did your mail arrive yet? We got about just over 2 minutes here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. High rooted in gorgeous sacredness. Let's see here. By the way, just want to let you guys know, I started a new creepypasta thing on our channel called SOR True Tales tonight. I tested it out. Don't mind the editing. I'm just getting used to it. I just started working with it. But if any of you have any weird stories that you want us to bring out, we would love for you to email us at dave@spacedoutradio.com. Go ahead after the show, check it out. It's only about like 12 minutes long, and tell me what you think. That's kind of the stuff we're going to be doing. My whole idea behind it all is that way you guys get an opportunity to tell your story, and we're able to put it online. Basically, we're going to sit down, have an interview. I'm going to take my voice out. That way it's all you telling your story. You don't have to give your real identity. You know, we have no photos since there is no video on this. It's just straight audio, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to bring your stories out to our listeners. So give it a check out. It is called SOR's True Tales. We had the first one out tonight. at 7:30. About 2 hours ago, we broadcasted it on the channel. Let me know what you think in the comments below on that one. I would really appreciate it. If you like it, if you don't like it, just let me know. Thanks, guys. Hi, gorgeous Amy Vegas O. We really appreciate you coming on in. 405er, good to have you back. Thank you for joining us. Hey, special Ed 8 in Tampa. Thank you for coming on in. Really appreciate having you here. Let's see here. Who else we got coming in? Chuckles, how's your beehive? Hey, Fast Hemi, thanks for coming on in. And we're 20-some seconds away here. So a big thank you to Reverend Keith, to Wagon Breadth, and TH for the amazing super chats. It's a great way to support what we do. Hi, Cat Chaser. Thank you so much for your super chat as well. You are the best. You continually take good care of us here. We really do appreciate the love and support. Here we go with the second half hour. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. I want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with Butch Witkowski's Strange Days, Butch's website, UFOcop.com, as we're going to get into looking for Bigfoot, Sasquatch here in British Columbia, where there's a group of 30 potential amateur scientists going to take a run at trying to find Bigfoot. It's a great idea, Butch. It really is. One of the issues that I have with it, though, and I mentioned this the other night on our SOR roundtable, is the organizer is someone, and not to shoot him down or his idea down, that's not what we do around here, but one of the things that sticks out for me about it is his definition is that Bigfoot's a monkey in North America. It's a North American monkey. What's your opinion on that?
This guy needs some serious help. Look, first of all, who would take 30 amateur researchers of any type out into the field, let alone raising money on the internet to fund this potential 411 book remake? Because 30 people that are amateurs out in the field, I can't imagine the first 500 things that come to my mind that are going to go wrong. And how does he come up with a figure of 30 grand? Where are these people getting all these equipment if they're equipment needed if they're amateurs? It's a mind boggler. I have no idea what's up this guy's sleeve, but other than, he's going to get 30 grand, take him out in the woods and leave him there and run off. That's he could do that, but I just, first of all, a monkey. What's he talking about, a monkey? If he wants a monkey, let him go to the zoo. There's zoos up there. I mean, why? What is his purpose? And I can't find anything on this guy's background. I mean, he's not a known researcher that I can find. And if I had to come up with 30 researchers, I mean real researchers, there ain't no way I can come up with 30 real researchers into the field. It's crazy. I mean, this guy's going to get somebody hurt, or it's just a scam. Or, I don't think it's a joke because he's really, trying to get money out of the internet. So, I don't know. It's just, this has been tried before. It's been tried in the paranormal groups where, you'd pay so much money, you'd get on a bus and they'd take you down down some dark road and tell you to get out and start looking all over the place for spooks of this and ghosts of that. And I don't know. I don't know what he's thinking. It's so strange. It's out of the ordinary. I mean, nobody does this stuff. Not that I know of. And why would you need 30 people? What are you going to do with 30 people? You going to have a picnic? Who's paying? Who's cooking for these people? Who's going to put them up? I mean, I don't get any of it. I mean, it's just nuts. And, you have this crazy idea of 30 people running around the woods not knowing what they're doing or where they're coming from. How's he going to watch 30 people? There ain't no way he can watch 30 people. I can't watch 15 people at a family dinner. And this guy's going to watch 30 researchers in the woods? And where are all these reports that he's going to have to produce to get these people to go out in the woods? What's he going to make them up? That's crazy. And, I just don't get it. I just really, really don't get it. $30,000. And I'll tell you one thing. People will donate to it. You mark my word, people are going to donate to that cause. And then we'll see. But I just hope nobody gets hurt or nobody really gets too involved with this, because it's crazy.
Well, there's many in the Bigfoot world commending him going to look for the big monkey. And that's probably my biggest issue with it. I don't have a problem with him or anyone going out there, Butch, raising funds to try and do a documentary or to do as large a survey to cover as much area as possible. What I don't like about it is, when we have researchers like this out in the field who are conducting opinion, they're not conducting science, they're conducting opinion. And when you conduct opinion, the only one you're going to make a fool of is yourself.
Yep. Yeah. Well, it's just mind-boggling because, I mean, how did this guy think this crap up? First of all, what's the $30,000 for? What is he going to do with $30,000? And what's he going to do? When's he going to train these 30 amateur researchers? What's he going to do? Give them a picture of a Bigfoot and say, you go this way, you go that way, you go this way? I mean, what's he going to send them out in the trails by themselves? It just seems like a really bad, a bad situation, a bad scam. I don't know. And I can't find anything on this guy. Nobody knows him. I asked a couple people tonight that are in the know, and they are real Bigfoot researchers and been doing it for many, many years. And they said, I've never heard of him.
Well, and, apparently he is new on the scene.
Oh, yeah, he must be real new.
And had an encounter a couple of years ago, and that's kind of what got him started. And I know that, I know from a couple people out in British Columbia here, he is, you know when you get the second coming of Christ in these fields, this is what he's looked at in the BC area.
So he's a legend in his own mind.
Could be. I don't know what the money is for, but I mean, Butch, when you are pegging a square into a round hole, that's the issue that I have. Okay, mm-hmm. It is the fact that, and maybe I'm taking it personally, maybe I'm not, but I'm trying to be professional about it. But we don't know what these creatures are. We don't know even if they truly exist or if they're even on our timeline. We don't know. But when you are denying claims of the First Nations, if you're denying claims of experiencers who have things happen, if you're denying claims that gifting sites don't work and all of this, I just think it's ridiculous. And when he proclaims that he's chasing around the North American monkey, well, there is no proof that it's a monkey. No proof whatsoever.
No. The prints that have been found are not ape by any means, way, shape, or form. descriptions of people that had sightings. Nothing comes up monkey or ape or anything like that. Now, the skunk ape in Florida is a different story. That is small. They have a lot of pictures, a lot of video, and they do think that it was escaped from one of the circus camps that go down there, for their off season. Now, I just cannot believe that anybody would, on this guy's non-background, and he doesn't explain what he wants them to do or what he needs the money for. I mean, if it's something local in his area, why can't everybody just meet him somewhere in a parking lot? 30 grand is a lot of money. And does he have all the equipment he needs?
Well, I think that's in the video that I saw. That's what they're looking for, is to buy the gear that is necessary.
Well, for 30 grand, he's not going to be buying a lot of gear, because one of our night vision devices, or one of our thermal image cameras, was almost 10 grand. So, what's he going to do? Get on eBay and start bidding on stuff? If a good sound recorder costs you $500 or $600, and not to mention all the other myriads of equipment you need, I just think the whole thing is just like, I hope these people are going to be aware of what's going on. And how's he coming up with 30 amateur Bigfoot researchers? How? I couldn't come up with 30 amateur Bigfoot researchers if I got out in my truck right now and started driving around with a loudspeaker. There ain't no way. I mean, you don't even have 30. I can't even think of 30 upfront, top-notch researchers that I could come up with. I mean, they'd be all over the country. It's not like all these people, live down the street from where I live. I mean, some of the people are in Washington, Oregon, some are up in Canada, some are in Florida, some are in North and South Dakota. I mean, it just sounds bad. It really does. It just doesn't sound right. And like I said, I couldn't find anything on the guy, so I don't know who he is or what his claim to fame is. But I'll guarantee you this: he probably has a license plate on the front of his truck that says "Fortune and Glory."
Wow, that one choked me up. I'm not going to lie. That one choked me up. I want to ask you, in regards to this, we do need amateur scientists in the field, Butch. We do.
Yes,
that's
sure.
The way we move it forward.
Right.
But I mean, you and I have talked ad nauseum on this show about the idea of that if you're going to be an amateur scientist, you need to be able to understand how science somewhat works. And that's part of the issue that I think we have, is a lot of these guys think you got to go to Cabela's, grab yourself a bunch of actual gear, like camouflage gear. Some may use ghillie suits. We've seen that before. But
yeah, they get shot.
but I mean, a lot of people feel that that's what you need to do. You need to go get a bunch of survival gear from Cabela's or places like that. You need to, stock up on water, have a good tent, and, maybe shave with a knife, a la, the crocodile hunter back in the day. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know what else you do. I mean, because the majority of the people in this field, as you know, they haven't done anything scientific since high school.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they'd be awful disappointed if they come into one of our camps, because all they're going to see is blue jeans, sweatshirts, T-shirts, sneakers, an occasional gun on a hip, but that's about it. Coffee that's probably 2 days old and, take the paint off your car if you'd spill it on there. It's just, but the thing is, they know what they're doing. They know what to look for. People walk through broken branches all the time in the woods, and you have wind knock down limbs and stuff like that. But when you find limbs that are intertwined, or there's no way they could have felt like that on their own, or you had this little hut over in the corner behind some rocks or something like that. That's where all my guys would be in there taking all kinds of samples. But I don't get this whole thing. I mean, I can't wrap my head around this deal. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And $30,000, if he's thinking he's going to buy top-notch equipment for $30,000, he's out of his mind.
Well, it is a start, and let's also remember that there's a lot of people out there who are budgeted. I couldn't afford it.
Okay, so all right. So now look, let's say he spends $30,000 in equipment, right? Is every one of these 30 people going to get a piece of equipment? I doubt it. I doubt anybody shows up with a Boy Scout knife. It's just crazy. I've seen this happen in the paranormal years ago. Like I said, bus tours, car tours, walking tours, until one guy fell off a friggin' bridge and broke a leg. Yeah, then that stopped. But it's just, all people got to do is hook themselves up with a researcher or an investigator in their area, or even out of the area, that can help them get started, get them out in the woods, or get them to an area. Map reading, they got to have maps. I mean, there must be 30 maps in our trucks, but you don't know where all these roads go or where they went to begin with. And I just think there are enough people out there to spend your time on, not charge them a dime, and get them out there doing the right thing and doing it the right way, where they're not going to get hurt. They'll be able to get knowledge on their own, whether it's starting a gifting site or just following up on old reports, which I always tell people to do. If you find an old report in your area, follow up on it. I mean, somebody looked at it before and they came to their conclusion. Now you go out and look at it. You read it. You go out and look at it. See what you come up with. See if you come up with the same thing. You may come up with something totally different, put you on another path. So that whole thing just don't sound right, Dave. I'm sorry. It just sounds bad. Like I said, unless he's going to write another book after it's all over on 4/11 and give Pallades a run for his money, that 30 people disappeared.
How do you not do it, though? I mean, if you have 30 people going on an expedition trying to find this creature, I mean, that's not something that happens every day, and they're going into the bush for, I believe, a month or 2 months or something like that in order to do it?
I just don't think it's going to happen. I know what it takes to just take 5 guys out in the field for a week. I mean, just think of the needs that you have. You need water, you need food, you need tents, you need canopies, you need setup areas for computers. I mean, there's all these things you need. You need toolboxes, you need boxes with wiring and your Wi-Fi setups and all that stuff. I mean, all that stuff is needed. So I just don't see this guy pulling this off, especially for that amount of time. Then again, it could turn into another Donner party. They'll run out of food and they'll start eating each other.
Oh, my goodness. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days continues here on Spaced Out Radio. Butch, if you were putting together an expedition for, let's say, 1 month, how many people would you have to go into an area? And what would you do? How would you set it up?
6, probably 6 at the most. Everybody, 2 to a sector, sector it out, where you are going to maybe be covering a field area, an open field area, or you may be in a mountain area that you're going to watch, or it's just, you don't need that many people, because you're not really, other than looking for footprints or trying to get samples, you have all this equipment that does the work for you. And I think that people that want to get involved would want to have some kind of background, even if it's just how to operate the cameras, how to set up the camera traps. And that's not easy because, you know, you got to make them secure. And, you know, it's just, it doesn't take that much.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you say you would want 6 instead of 30. Is that for cross-contamination?
Well, not only that, but they'd be bumping into each other. You know, you'd spend more time looking for people that are lost.
Well, I know the area where they are going, and literally you could drive on 4x4 or ATV straight to Whistler, Blackcomb, and that's a couple hundred, kilometers away.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just think, when we bring new people into the group, whether it's the 40 team or my group, there's always somebody that's always like assigned to them to watch over them, to teach them, to show them how to use the equipment. It's crazy. To let somebody out on their own, especially that many people, how would you even, if he's the only real researcher, then how does he take care of 30 people? We bring one in at a time. We have one starting right now in Mississippi, but he's going to be working with another gentleman that we have in Mississippi. They live at either, different parts of the state, but the younger guy is going to be hanging out with the older guy to get his feet wet and to figure out what's going on, how it's done, and everything from writing a report to research to actually being out in the field. So it's one of those things where, when you bring somebody in to the group, you really got to take care of them. You just don't turn them loose. That's just going to be trouble. Something's going to go wrong, or very wrong, and you don't want that to happen. And besides, the people that are coming into the group now are younger, smarter. I enjoy it because they don't come in with any predisposition to what they're looking for. They got a rough idea, and they're going like, okay, now what? Where do we go from here? They want to tear right into it.
Yet, if you don't have a game plan on what you're looking for, how you're looking for it, or the hot spots, you're really just shooting blanks in the forest.
Yeah, exactly. It's like going on a picnic.
Interesting. We got about 90 seconds here before we have to go to break at the top of the hour. Butch, so for you, is it even worth it going on an expedition that long?
No, not for that. Not that long. 30 days is a long time. Just the logistics of it would be crazy. No, I can't. I just can't see that. 30 days, 2 weeks tops, and that'd be, you'd really have to have a lot of really good evidence to stay that long, or a lot of area to cover. And even if you're going to cover that type of area, you're going to have an ATV vehicle of some sort.
True. Although, once again, knowing the area where he is going, there's a lot of logging trails that have been cut in there over the years. And the Harrison Mills area, I think they're planning on going pretty hard in that, where there's been a lot of sightings over the decades of this creature going back a few hundred years. So it's going to be interesting to keep an eye out on it and see where it goes. I'm like you. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. But, good on people for trying to at least be creative, because That's kind of what we want people to be. You know, Butch, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days happens near the end of every month here on Spaced Out Radio, as his website is uforcop.com if you want to check it on out. Coming up next, we're going to get to a few of your questions about all things cryptid. We're going to talk Bigfoot. We might even talk a little Dietlow Pass with the new information that we have. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days continues on Spaced Out Radio right after this. Hey, Thurston Howell III. Hi, Antonio. Good to have you back. Thanks for coming on in. Butch, I'm just going to run my dogs out. I'll be right back, okay?
Yeah, I'm going to get some iced tea.
All right.
Stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's west coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Hey, Space Travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
All right, I'm back.
Okay.
Just trying to... Hey, Cherry Pepsi, I sent you a Twitter DM. Oh, I didn't say Siri. Stop it. You know when you eat dinner and you feel hungry right afterwards?
Always.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm starving. Hey, Jose, thank goodness I got a bunch in reserve here, man. I could, starve myself for about 4 years. Hi, gorgeous Anne Celine. How are you? Thank you for joining us. Mm-hmm. Mr. Cowley, welcome back to the show. Oh, Mr. Cowley loves his spaced out radio. There we go. There, got that in. All right. Bungus, Gil, we know you're ripped up on the Aqua Velva right now, so just take it easy. Big thank you to Cat Chaser, to Pastor, Reverend Keith, Wagon Breath, and TH for the awesome super chats. Here we go with the second hour of the show.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Here we go. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears, especially if you're listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Dentirostral. Dentirostral is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on with Strange Days. Butch Witkowski from UFOcop.com is here tonight, hanging out, talking all things cryptid and weird. So check it on out, UFOcop.com, if you have any really cool sightings you want to check on out. Butch, welcome back.
Good. Questions?
They're building. They are building. And while they are building for you, I want to ask you right off the bat here in regards to the bipedal canines. Anything new on that front?
There was one report that I got Tuesday of last week. Now, the gentleman is sending a drawing of what he saw, plus he said a pretty cockamamie photograph that he squeezed off on his cell phone. So I'm just waiting for that. Now, he lives in, Arizona. I can't think of the name of the town. Gila Bend, and was out with the family on a camping trip. He said near a national park, but I don't know which national park yet. So just waiting for that information. But they'll start coming in soon because it's about that time of year when we'll start getting them.
Okay, so do they light up now that we're entering spring? And when does that, is there a season for it, I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah, pretty much starts around April, May, and it'll go through to October, November, and then it'll settle down.
Interesting. Okay. In regards to this creature that people are seeing, how long has this been going on now? Is this a relatively new creature, or is this something that goes back decades or hundreds of years?
Oh, it goes way back. We found a report from 1868 in Erie, Pennsylvania. It was a guy on a farm. He saw something tearing up at his flock, and he took a shot at it, and he went into town and described it to the constable. And that description that he gave the constable in the newspaper is exactly what we get now. No difference. Same size, same color, same look, same build, the glowing yellow eyes, the whole bit. So I think they've been around for a long time. And, I never back away from what the indigenous come up with. And, the indigenous, when we contacted them, and they were very nice, very helpful, they think it could be a watcher or a guardian, watching grave sites, battle sites, because at one time Pennsylvania was all Indians. They were all at war with each other, so we got lots of burial mounds.
All right. Is there a difference between the way you investigate Bigfoot comparatively to the way you are looking for Dogman or this bipedal canine?
No, they're pretty close in how we do it. I mean, camera traps, thermal imaging, it's just one of those things where, there's not a whole lot of difference between the two. I mean, they're both there and then they're not there. Some leave tracks and some don't leave tracks. So I would say that we're pretty close on how we do it with both. This time out, we're going to be using a drone. We got a drone, so and that's thermal imaging, and we're going to give that a shot, especially for the clear areas. Not so much over the wooded areas, but the big fields where they're seen. Especially, we have one up in Clearfield County where older gentleman, lives on a road below the mountain, has seen something running through the woods. Very tall, very black, very wolf-looking, right along the edge of the wooded area, and then there's a field below that wooded area. So we do have one camera trap set up there, and we still have another 30 days before we got to go up and check on it, but we'll see. We will see.
All right, questions coming from the audience here. Kira is asking, Butch, have you ever captured video or photos with red orbs? And have you heard the First Nations legend of that being the energy they put out?
Yeah, I got some great pictures of red orbs right up here in Pennsylvania, right up just east of Erie. At a college, a gentleman and his brother had come to visit for the weekend. They were standing out on a little alcove area where to smoke, and right outside of his sliding doors that leads out to this little makeshift patio type thing. And they saw it coming, and as luck would have it, thank God, his camera was right inside the door. He grabbed the shot, and it's a perfect shot, and it's probably the best photo I've seen of a red orb. It was very hot. It was a very good shot. It's close up. It hovered above a couple buildings near the college, and then it shot straight up into the sky. But it is, without a doubt, one of the best pictures. I mean, I could post it on Facebook if people are interested.
Very cool. All right, let's move on. Dark Hour has a question for you. What is your experience with migratory observation in respect to Sasquatch or different beings in different regions?
I've never really I've only ever met one guy that had that theory of migratory, that certain times of the year they're in here and then a certain group is over here and they're back and forth and they move here and they move there. It didn't pan out because when he did his little thesis on the migratory movement of these creatures, where he said they should be, they weren't, and where he said they weren't, they were. That's where the reports were coming in from an area that he didn't think they should be. It's hard to tell. I mean, they're different. I mean, we're talking about something that we don't even know exists. We think it does. We have a pretty good idea that it does. But as far as anything, its migratory habits or family groups or anything like that, no, we just don't have that.
Really?
No, we don't.
Have you ever, like Dr. Jeff Meldrum, found tracks that have grown, same foot impressions, same, but maybe one time you found a track that was 12 inches and now it's 18 inches long?
No, not anything like that. I have 25 casts in my library, and they're all different. Every one of them's different.
Are they from the same areas, though?
No, they're from, there's 4 or 5 from Pennsylvania, and then they're spread out in California, Montana, Florida, Vietnam. So they're the ones that are really hard to get, and I know there have been some have been taken of Yeti, in the Himalayas, and now those are kind of strange because there's never been any tracks side by side, like two creatures walking side by side. It's always been one, a long stride, and lots of photographs and samples and everything taken, DNA samples taken from the footprints and stuff like that from the snow that go for miles, absolute miles. There's one from down in Louisiana where a guy was using a metal detector and he came across a whole set of tracks, and the step from step 1 to a full step was like 6.5 feet, and they were 18-inch prints. So they're out there, and they do hold the record for hide and seek champions of the world. So
true, very true.
But
that title's been changed now. It's social distancing champs.
Okay.
Question coming from our good listener TH in Europe, who is asking, Butch, have you heard any new reports about cattle mutilations?
Yes, as a matter of fact, there has been one that was just reported. Let's see, today is Tuesday, so it would have been Wednesday evening. That was in Wyoming on a cattle ranch where a calf was found mutilated. And the police actually did take the investigation, so.
Really?
Uh-huh.
How do police handle that type of investigation?
I don't know how they do that. I mean, you can have a necropsy done, but that's going to be done by a veterinarian. It's not going to be done by, your local coroner. But, and there's things that we would do at a site like that, like, check for radiation, check for electromagnetic fields, et cetera, that I'm sure the police wouldn't do that. But, hey, as long as they got pictures and everything else, it works for me.
All right, another question about Sasquatch coming from Dark Hour. Is there a formal nomenclature associated with Sasquatch?
No, not that I know. No. All reports are different. Size, location, out in the open. I mean, it runs the whole gamut. I mean, you know, we've gotten everything other than one going to a local 7-Eleven for a Slurpee.
Why do you, or let me rephrase the question then. Have you noticed any type of patterns regarding this creature?
The only pattern that we've ever came up with that we've discussed with other groups, other researchers, is that they like heavily wooded areas with a lot of dead trees in, not new growth, old growth. A water supply is always close by, a creek or a little stream. And the higher up on a mountain they can go, that seems to be the preference. And we have a lot of mountains in Pennsylvania.
Do those same accounts, and I realize you're in Pennsylvania, and I wouldn't really call what you have mountains, no offense, but come on, Butch. I just set you up there. I just set you up. I know. You know, as I sit on top of a major mountain here, you know, but is there differences between, say, how this creature is reacting in, say, the state of Pennsylvania or on the East Coast, comparatively to what you hear from your friends and researchers who are here on the West Coast, where there's a lot of old-growth forest and everything?
Yeah, I would say the biggest difference is here, if they're seen here, if they're actually seen, or somebody takes a photograph, somebody, they're gone. They're just history. They just book. They take off. Where it seems like in those areas out there, they'll walk across an open field while you're standing on the other side of the field taking photographs. Now the photographs always come out blurry, and we haven't figured that one out yet. But then again, we haven't figured out why bipedals can tell people not to shoot when they have a weapon. And everyone that had a weapon said the same thing. They just had this feeling come over them, like, don't pull the trigger. Now, if that would happen to one person, I would say, okay, you know, maybe just the fear said that. But when you have 5 different people say that, and they're not even remotely close to each other, and they're carrying high-powered weapons, including 2 police officers or rangers, and they have the same thing. So how does this thing communicate now? Is there any type of communication?
What do you mean by communication?
Where they can tell you, basically, you're pointing that gun at me, you pull that trigger, and it's going to get real bad real quick. They all had that same daunting feeling that if they pulled the trigger, even though they had him in the sights, that it was not going to turn out real well. One guy stayed up in a tree for like 5 hours after he had his run-in.
Tell us that story.
Well, it was a hunter, deer season, 2 years ago, up in a tree stand, high-powered rifle, 30-06. And he was looking through the scope, watching 2 deer on the other end of a field. Now, he hunts this field every year. It's a family field, and him and a friend. The friend was at the other end, and he was at this end. And the one deer got a little spooked and just kind of went forward, maybe 20 feet, stopped, and kept looking back. And the other one just stood frozen. And then he saw what he described as a bipedal canine, actually 2 bipedal canine, come out from behind a group of thick trees behind where the deer were actually standing in the field. And of course, the one deer took off, and the one bipedal went after that deer, and the other deer just stood there and the other bipedal just kind of squatted down, and then he was downwind of the animal, and it wandered over to him, and it was at the bottom of the tree stand looking up and growling. And he said, I had the sights right in its head. He said, all I had to do was pull the trigger, and I would have shot him right in the head. And he said, just came over him, don't do it. Just don't pull the trigger. He took the gun and pointed it up in the air and just sat there. And he sat there for 5 hours. Even after it ran off for 5 hours, he sat up that tree stand before he had the guts to get down and run over to his truck and get out of there. And he went right down the road, a couple of mile to the Game Commission office, reported it, and they said, oh, we have big dogs running around up here. Don't worry about it. He said this was no dog. No dog. A matter of fact, his best description rendered more to a dire wolf than it did to a bipedal canine. But it was on two, and it was on four legs. So I don't know what it was, but he don't hunt there anymore.
What is the power of these creatures that scares even the strongest hunters or outdoors people to keep them out of an area? I mean, I heard one story about a week and a half ago from a gentleman who was on this show stating that, he went out looking for Sasquatch. He had a very close encounter. Gary Spikes Jr. is his name. Very close encounter where he was sleeping in his truck and the creature was literally looking in his driver's side window of his truck.
Oh, boy.
And he said that, this is a guy who did, 8 years as a U.S. Army Ranger, tough as nails, been to war, been to Afghanistan, Iraq, and he absolutely refuses to go back to that area, ever. He's too scared. What is it about these creatures that absolutely scare the daylights even out of the most well-invested forest people out there who are not scared of anything out in the mountains or the forests?
Well, first of all, the size. The size, the look. It's not like they can all describe a bear, they can all describe a deer, and they know how to get around them or hunt. But when you see something like that, even some of these descriptions that we've gotten, I don't know what I'd do. If it came to that, one of those face-to-face things. I always joke and say people, I'd throw them a tennis ball and tell them to sit while I ran back to the truck. But I honestly don't know what I'd do. You're looking at something that's, I'm 6'1", and I weigh 280. And you're looking at something that is probably in the 400-pound range and is 8 to 10 foot tall. I don't know. I don't think I'd want to stick around. I'd rather have it on film or some other way, but I don't know. I don't know what I'd do.
Come on. You would absolutely interrogate the hell out of them. You'd sit him down, you'd cuff him.
No, I don't think so. When we had the forensic artist draw up what it should look like from 7 different reports that we had, and that came back to me. I sat at my desk and just stared at that for a good hour. What is this? How could this be? How could you not see this thing in the woods? But that's the thing. They are seen in the woods. And, when you have 2 park rangers that are followed by this thing, turn around and go back, and it's following them on the right-hand side. And then it stops. There's a little bit of a rustle, and they turn around and look up the path they just walked down the trail, and it's standing in the middle of the trail staring at them. And these guys are both armed. And he said, well, we didn't want to run because we didn't want to chase us. And he said, we didn't want to get into a gun battle with something we didn't know we were going to win. They only had sidearms. And they got back and got in their vehicle. And where they were parked, there's a hill. and at the top of the hill. It was just a dugout that they made for this walking path that they were building. And at the top of the hill, there it stood looking down at him. He said, "We never saw it go past us." And he said, the one that was behind us wasn't there anymore. So, what was it?
No idea.
Yeah.
No idea. Butch, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to continue the monster talk when we come back from our break here on Spaced Out Radio. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days. It happens near the end of each month where we bring on Butch from UFOcop.com to come in and talk all sorts of monsters with us. We're going to get into a little UFO talk when we come back. What does Butch think of the latest United States Navy sightings with these drones hovering over their ships? All right, we're back.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just going to grab something here.
Now, can they hear you talking?
They sure can.
There you go.
Can they hear you?
No, I want to ask if they're going to tell you what you go get to eat. That's what you're going to do, right?
No, I'm not getting something to eat here.
Oh, no.
No, I'm going to stay. I'm going to battle this. I've got enough in reserve. Mm-hmm.
I've had Chinese tonight, so I'm hungry already.
Oh, gosh. You know what? We have a Chinese food restaurant here in town, man, that does not use MSG, and their food
so does this one.
Oh, their food is so good.
Yeah, this outfit doesn't either.
Mm-hmm. 1 second here. Everyone in the chat room on YouTube, I'm placing a link right there. That is to our brand new feature that we have. I'm trying something out here because I really love that creepypasta type of storytelling on our YouTube. On YouTube, a lot of channels like that. So I figured, you know what? We're pretty good storytellers around here. You guys have some pretty good stories. So do us a favor, take a listen to that. The link is in the chat room, and tell me what you think. And if you want me to interview you about your creepy or weird or strange encounter with something, just email me at dave@spacedoutradio.com, and I will bring you on, and we will interview you. My goal is to do 1 or 2 of these a week, but I want you to tell your story. So I may interview you and ask you a bunch of questions, but it's going to be you telling your story, and I'm going to edit my voice out as much as I can. But I really want to learn your story. It'd be about 8, 10, 12 minutes long, maybe 15 minutes long. Then I'll edit it together, put it up. I'm going to try to do 1 a week. It may be 1 every 2 weeks. I'm not sure. But it's just a new little feature that we've done on Spaced Out Radio. And once again, I'm going to put the link in there once again. If you're in our YouTube chat room or you're on Spreaker, I'll put it right there. Let me know what you think. And do it after the show, though, because it's like 12 minutes long. So, Butch, I got a quick question here for you because it's beard oil time. Should I use the True North blend or the Winter blend? Your call.
Try the True North because last time you did the Winter.
Okay, True North here. Just for Butch Witkowski, You just put the old Mighty Moose beard oil right on the hand there, Make sure you don't spill the bottle like I did last time. Rub it all together and then massage it in. Just massage it into your beard. And this is what you do. This is how you get a beautiful beard. Or if you're the case of Cherry Pepsi Mike, this is how you take care of your back hair. Just rub this stuff in. MightyMooseBeard.com. Gary the Dutchman is going to take care of you. By the way, Gary the Dutchman got a real nice compliment from Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, our music guy, after getting some Mighty Moose beard oil. And he really likes the Winter blend. But for ladies as well, you can rub this right in your hair, and it's going to be absolutely great. It's going to eliminate split ends. It's nice. It's no chemicals. Go to MightyMooseBeard.com. Use promo code SOR2019, and you're going to get a deal from Gary the Dutchman. Look, there's not a lot of Dutch people out there who give you a break on something. You know, much like us Ukrainians, the Dutch are cheap, but not Gary the Dutchman. No, he's going to give you a good deal. So make sure you go to MightyMooseBeard.com. Check it on out. Look, it may say it's for beards, but women and ladies, you can use it, and even men, like I do, you can use it in your hair. It feels great. It smells great. And remember, all the funds are in Canadian dollars. So check it on out. MightyMooseBeard.com. Science Bob, how you doing? Nice to have you here, Science Bob. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really do appreciate that. And I see we have Vertical Horizon here. Hello, Vertical Horizon. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. I'm seriously hungry. Very hungry right now. Don't know why, but I am. Let's see here. We got 27 seconds here. And we want to say thank you to Science Bob, Fapster, Cat Chaser, Reverend Keith, TH, and Wagon Breath for the amazing super chats tonight. Thank you so much for your love and support of Spaced Out Radio. Really do appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who's hit that thumbs up. And let's rock and roll here, the second half of the show starting right now. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for hanging on out with us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button, our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on with Butch Witkowski's Strange Days Happening Here. UFOrcop.com. That's UFOrcop.com is his website. Butch, I wanted to get your opinion on the latest that came out last week about the UFOs and the United States Navy. Again, this happened in 2019 where 3 ships from the U.S. Navy were off the coast of California, and for a couple of days they were buzzed by these drones. Now, politically correct speaking, we're calling them drones, but the description seems awfully familiar to these Tic Tacs that we've heard so much about.
Yeah. Well, I think they've been around for a long time. I mean, there were sightings back in World War II of those type of craft, in both seen by battle cruisers from the Imperial Japanese fleet, our fleet. Matter of fact, the Italian fleet actually filed a report with their command center that they thought it was actually a rocket that was fired at them. But there's so much that they know that they won't tell us. I mean, you got Senator Rubio now pushing it, and he wants them to. There's a couple of senators that are pushing for a release of the information. The Navy's not going to release anything they don't want to. A lot of people don't realize it, but the CIA, DOD, all of that, those guys are amateurs compared to the U.S. Navy. The Navy is our darkest, deepest, most secretive outfit that we have. It always has been. It's been like that since the start of the Navy. Same thing with the British. The British Navy, that's their secret service. So The things that are coming out, I think there's going to be a lot more coming out. I haven't followed up on it. I got a thing from the Acadamie, the Ufologie in France this morning, and they're trying to get some photographs that were taken, I believe, in 2020 near Pensacola, Florida. So it's just one of those things. I mean, you're not seeing any reports from the Army, Marines, or anybody else, but it's the Navy. It's always been the Navy. The Navy started their espionage techniques and their spy techniques back when they had sails on their ships, and they just took it over. I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, the Secret Service of the Navy, that's it. They're the guys. They're top level. And so the photographs that are going to be coming out of Pensacola are Tic Tacs. It's exactly what they're described as. So these are not all these things. These Tic Tacs have been seen for a long, long time. I mean, they've got gun cameras on these things. The Spanish Navy has like a whole fleet of them. Excuse me. And they had them on thermal imaging. So they're there, and again, we pretty much know they're not ours. We don't have anything that resembles or has the aeronautics that they have where they can just disappear, in a matter of a flash. And so I guess we're going to see. We'll see what turns up. I mean, I guess if enough senators complain, they might get a little something out of them, but I don't think they're going to get very much at all.
With this sighting on the West Coast where, there was up to 6 of these drones hovering over the ships, and apparently there was one very close call over one of the, I believe, I don't even remember, the USS Kidd, where this one was literally hovering over the bow of this. Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm just wondering, I mean, that would be an amazing photograph to have. You imagine the pictures that they must have got off that ship from regular cameras to iPhones and whatever else from the crew?
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine the pics that they have that we'll never see? The ones that they've been taking since 1947 that we're never going to see.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, they've been reported over war zones in every war that we've ever fought in. They've been reported at sea. They've been reported in the air. They've been reported in space. So I would think the guys that are up in these capsules or space stations, they know what they're looking at.
Okay. So you mentioned that you're talking to a friend of yours down in Pensacola. What is he or she allegedly photographed?
A Tic Tac. Right off the beach, quarter of a mile, maybe at 2,500 to 3,000 feet high. Hovered for a little bit and then shot off. But he didn't have a cell phone camera; he had a regular camera. So we'll see. See what he got.
Wow.
I just hope it wasn't one of those throwaway cameras. Oh, God.
Remember those disposables?
Oh, my God. I ran into a researcher one time in Center County. He had like 20 of those in a backpack. I'm going like, why don't you just buy a camera, a real camera? Oh, these are cheap. I'm going like, yeah, you're right.
Hey, they have one hell of a non-zoom lens.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And to pay for the film, get the film developed, cost you a fortune. You could go buy yourself a Nikon, for God's sake.
Well, we don't want to break the bank on anything like that. But,
No.
I mean, the Tic Tac seems to be the flavor du jour over the last 3 years of what these craft are. And everything from black triangles to disc-shaped saucers to these rods or these cigar shapes. I mean, we're not hearing much out of those right now. Is there a reasoning for that?
Well, if you would take a saucer shape that was maneuvering, left to right, back and forth, up and down, it would kind of look like a Tic Tac depending on what the attitude of the craft was. I mean, that's what it would look like. Now, that Tic Tac thing, that stuck because of the combat pilot that was doing the photographing through the gun sight. But, it's funny that you don't hear of these crafts in certain parts of the world. Like Spain, their rule is shoot them down. Russia, shoot them down. China, shoot them down. So now, whether that's been attempted or whether it was successful, who knows? You'll never find out anything from those folks. But, and who's to say we never shot anything down? We don't know that. I mean, we had one guy try it and he got blown out of the sky. So when you look at the speed, they track them on radar at the speed. When you're talking about something going 10,000 miles per hour, we don't have anything that goes 10,000 miles per hour. So, I don't know. The ufology, even though the sightings you're more apt to see a UFO than you are to see a Bigfoot. On any clear night, you can look up in the sky and you're going to see something that don't look right. And I don't know. I just think that they're there. They've been there a long time. I don't agree much with the ancient UFO guys, but when you stop to think of things that have been built back thousands of years ago, they didn't have those kind of tools, not to cut granite. You weren't cutting granite with a bronze chisel. So,
all right.
I don't know.
All right. Well, let me ask you, because we're, I believe, 88 days from this potential disclosure coming out on June 1st. And there's a lot of people in the UFO world, and even some of the media for that matter, let's give them credit, where they're pretty pumped up thinking that we're going to be told where them damn aliens are come June 1st. Now, personally, I don't think it's going to happen. I think there's going to be a lot of redacted information, and there's going to be, probably only 1/1,000,000th of the information that the government has that will actually be released.
Right.
But in that 1/1,000,000th, there might be, something for us to chew on. What is your reaction to the idea of this 180-day clause come June 1st?
I don't think it's going to happen either. I mean, it's not the first time that this has been put out like that. The deal I went to down in Washington, D.C. was for the discernment of UFOs and disclosure. And although all these hotshot senators and congressmen stood up there and said, yeah, we'll take care of it, we'll look into it, never heard another word. That was the end of it, right there. They brought in all these UFO guys from all over the country and overseas, and I mean, they gave their stories out, and that's just where it stayed. I think they're just looking at, in the time span that it's going to take, everybody will forget about it. You might have one or two people, but it'll just blow by the wayside as always.
What do you think will come out? Will we get anything?
Nope. Nope. Mm-mm. I mean, you would think that with Roswell being so many years ago, 74 years ago, they would have said something. Nope, they're sticking by their story. And that's it. They're not going to give anybody, any information. And, it's always the thing that the answer you always get is, well, it has to do with national security. I look at it like this. If something can fly from point A to point B in a matter of a few seconds, we don't even have anything that could shoot it down. So, I just, they're there. We know they're there. There's lots of photographs, lots of video, a lot of eyewitnesses, both military and civilian, and it's what it is. Nobody's going to, they may come up with some cockamamie story of something that's minuscule or doesn't really mean anything, but they're not going to parade one out in front of you. Nor are you ever going to find out about if bodies were recovered. And that's all governments like it. The Russians, they said they 8-10 crashes over a period of 45 years, and they got bodies and this, that, and the other thing. Yeah. Try to get information there. Just don't happen. And when you read the Brookings Institute white paper that they put out, the reason that you're probably never going to know is because they don't think that the public could handle it. I mean, everything would change. Religions would change. Economics would change. Colleges, the way they teach, everything would change. The whole history would change. So it's not something they're going to be too apt to do. I always said, and my wife laughs every time I tell her, I said, look, here's how it's going to happen. One's going to crash in some old farmer's field, and before he does anything, he's going to call the newspaper, and then he's going to call the radio station, then he's going to call the TV people, and the cops will be the last ones to get the call. By the time they come, everybody will have all the information they need. But if it is found by anybody, or if a crash is found by anybody, I just don't see how they'd get away with it. I mean, the government knows everything in the sky. I mean, you can go on the internet and load a program, and you can track airplanes all over this country. Matter of fact, you can track them all over the world. Their end number, where they're coming from, where they're going to, where they're at right now. And I'm sure the government can do a lot better than that.
When's the last crash that you believe happened on our soil?
I would probably say, I would say Roswell. I don't think there's been any since then.
What about the Flatwoods Monster or Kecksburg?
Mm-hmm.
You're close to Kecksburg.
Well, Kecksburg is, yeah, I've been there several times, but the Kecksburg thing is, the people that said they saw it have been proven they lied. The people that said it never happened have been proven right. The story of the Civil Air Patrol, the kids from the Civil Air Patrol cordoning off the area till the state police got there, and they were all carrying .45s. I was a member of the Civil Air Patrol. They wouldn't let us near the soda machine, let alone an aircraft, let alone give us a gun. But it's, there's so much things wrong two of the witnesses, the one guy who was supposed to be like the witness, he states that he saw it all happening while he was outside changing antifreeze in his Chevrolet Corvair. Chevrolet Corvairs didn't have antifreeze. They were an air-cooled engine. And then he changed it when he got caught at that and said while he was working on his CD player. They didn't have CD players back then. So, and the other guy, he described the truck that it was taken away on. Now, where that clump of trees is, where this thing was supposed to have fallen in, it's an incline that goes down in a field, and I mean it's an incline, and then it comes straight back up again. How would you get a truck down there? And there's no way. Impossible. There's no roads in, there's no roads out. Oh, you can walk down. State police have no record of the call. Same thing with Carbondale. That was another story where a crash takes place into a mine hole, a leak field, and they pull out a lantern. I mean, there's just so many stories, and they have these every year. They have kind of like a carnival atmosphere where they have a big to-do about stuff going on, and over the years that's dwindled down to next to nothing. But there are cases that are still open. The one up in Erie, that there you had evidence. Not only was the Air Force on the scene, but you had tripod marks in the sand. You had a substance in the middle of those tripods that looked like tar, but it didn't, like an oily tar, but it didn't sink into the sand. It just laid on top. All the samples were taken of that. Witnesses, 4 to be exact, described what it looked like. And then, of course, not long after that, Bigfoot was brought into it, where the one girl said that she heard rustling in a tree, and she looked over and she saw this big hairy thing. And they said they got hair out of the tree, and the state police has all that stuff, and called a friend of mine who ran the state police lab here in Pennsylvania. He said, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I said, okay. But there are pictures of the Air Force guys there taking samples. I mean, photographs taken by the media. So he said, yeah, they were there. He said, but we had nothing to do with it. I went like, okay, so you don't have any casts of the tripod marks? Nope. Nothing from the substance that was laying underneath where the craft was? Nope. So what are you going to do? You never get the straight story. You got to do it on your own. But I don't know. I think they're there. They've been there a long time, and who are we to say that, they couldn't make a trip from one planet to another? We don't know that. I mean, we went to the moon. Now we're gearing up to go to Mars. So we'll see. We'll see how it works out.
We've got about 1 minute to go here before we go to break at the top of the hour. Butch Witkowski is our guest. Butch, you're claiming, and I'm going to put your vote in, disappointment come June 1st.
Yes.
That's an emphatic stamp that you put on there.
Yep. It's happened 5 or 6 times in the past. I mean, where this disclosure was going to be made. And then at the very last minute, national security comes up. Those 2 words shuts everything down. And I saw a little article, or my wife actually showed me a little article where Biden says, well, he's going to tell the truth. Yeah, he'll wind up like Kennedy. He ain't gonna tell nobody nothing.
Well, I guess that's one of those things that we have to wait and see. We have to wait and see on this because in realistic sense, we don't know what's going to be in that report. We know there's going to be a lot of stuff scrubbed, and we know no matter what, it's going to really upset Butch Witkowski for what's not released. That is the truth. We'll have... I'm going to get you to hold on, Butch, right there, because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days. We do it near the end of each month here on Spaced Out Radio, where we bring in Mr. Witkowski from UFOcop.com to come on in, talk everything cryptid, UFO, ghosts, whatever's on his schedule. Whatever he wants to complain about that night. Yes, we love him around here, UFOcop.com. We got Butch for another 30 minutes on Spaced Out Radio. Hour 3 continues right after this. All right, there we go.
Yeah, I need more iced tea.
All right, I'll be right back. Hey, Kevin and Kevin's Beard, 2 separate entities. All right, there we go. I'll be right back, guys.
View of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month. And follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Hello everyone. This is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightlines report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines report on the Spaced Out Radio website and let's figure out what's going on together.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do?
Why not get bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning bumble, tone it down a bit with Bumblicious, and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chide and Chive Charities. If you know anything about...
All right, I'm back.
Yeah, I'm here.
Me too. Let me see here. I'm hungry. Damn it, I'm hungry. You have no idea. I am starving. Like, I am going through my Rolodex right now of every type of food in my house right now.
Well, when you get done, go make yourself a sandwich. Or are you thinking more porterhouse steak?
Oh, no. No. You know what I'm actually craving is an orange. A big, fat orange. Kira's saying, Dave, drink water. She's like, you're fat enough, Dave. Drink water. Thanks, Kira. Real nice. Gorgeous Emily Bigelow, a.k.a. Alaska's greatest athlete. I've sent you a message on Instagram. So you have what you need there. Let's see here. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. All right.
Please contact us.
All right. Big thank you. Oh, Susan has a fried egg sandwich. I'd eat that. I'd eat that for breakfast. Hold on. Dark Hour, Cherry Pepsi Mike, Science Bob, Fabster, Cat Chaser, Reverend Keith, Wagon Breath, and TH. Thank you so much for your love with the super chats. Thank you to everyone who's given us a thumbs up, thumbs down. You guys asked some questions here so we could get Butch excited here. Here we go with the third hour.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Thank you so much for tuning us on in and keeping it strange and weird in your life. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What do you got for us, Clam? Dentirostrawl. Dentirostrawl is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we introduce Butch Witkowski and Strange Days. We bring in Butch near the end of each month, talk about the weird month that was and all the strange and weird. We were just talking UFOs right beforehand, where Butch does not believe that we are going to get anything juicy come June 1st when the UFO report is allegedly due. And Butch's website, uforcop.com. And let's continue on. Butch, welcome back.
Yes, sir. What do we got now?
Well, I mean, you know, the audience is just in our chat rooms and on Twitter is just happy to be hearing from you. I mean, they're just, you know, good people here. Good people here. But I want to ask you in regards to the UFO side of everything, and you, I know you're pretty much not expecting anything June 1st, If anything does come out, what do you expect to come out?
I probably stuff that's already been reported, like the Tic Tacs with the Navy planes and maybe the Spanish, their reports of their planes chasing, Japanese planes chasing, that kind of, maybe some reports from commercial airliners that, have had their run-ins. That's pretty much, I think, you'd get. I mean, stuff that's been out there for a long, long time. And, of course, some of it's new. Excuse me. So that's pretty much all I expect they'll put out, if they put out anything at all.
Okay. Here's one thing that concerns me, Butch, and I'm curious to get your opinion of this. Over the last few years, we have basically seen, the entire UFO world kind of erupt in front of the public eye, which I think has been a good thing. But it seems like this new generation of Sasquatch, where the hell did that come from? Of UFO researchers really, really seems to be focused on the last few years. Like ufology really only started with the Tic Tac incident back in 2004 with the USS Nimitz. Why do you think that there is so much hindrance on looking into the past, whether it's Kecksburg, Shag Harbor, or Roswell?
Well, I think they've been investigated to death. I mean, there's books on everything, videos on everything, TV shows on everything. Ancient aliens, I mean, if you believe in that stuff, I mean, they've taken things in so many different directions it makes you crazy. But I want to stay at the purest with the investigations of UFOs, where sightings are made, things are seen, photographs are taken, videos taken, and it is what it is. I've had 19 sightings in my 30-some years. I have never been alone, ever. I've always been with one person or 7 persons or 12 persons, all saw the same thing. I think the very best sighting I had, other than my first one in Tucson, was I was at work. I was leaving work. It was dark. It was winter time. It was cold. A couple of fellows were outside smoking cigarettes, and I saw this bright light. At first I thought it was the sun coming up, and I thought, nope, wrong direction. And it just seemed to be getting bigger, and it didn't look like it was very high in the sky, but I'm sure it was. And it was enormous, and it just kept coming forward, and I thought, oh boy, I'm about to get my ride. And everybody saw it. I think there were 4 guys there besides me. And it stopped and turned it was bright white, and it turned a bright cherry red, as red as you could ever think, and shot straight up into the sky, into the stars, and that was it. So everybody saw what it was. The one guy till this day says he didn't see nothing, but he was just terrified. I mean, he's just terrified. He's a big boy, too. But anyhow, so I went home. I made the report up. I was in MUFON then. I made the report up, and I sent it in. And I went into the kitchen to get a cup of coffee, and my phone rang, and it was one of my investigators and said, did you just see this report of this bright white light that turned red and shot into the sky? I said, yeah. He said, who put that in there? Do you know? I said, yeah, I did. I saw it. And he says, okay. He said, the way our system worked, you had to go from one thing to another to get to another report. So I did that. He said, read that report. So I read the report. And it was from 2 people, a husband and wife, that are doing some grocery shopping early morning, and were just taking a few bags that they had in their truck out in their driveway, and they saw exactly the same thing that I reported. Exactly. The time, I don't remember right offhand, but if I mark the time down at 6:01, they marked their time down at 6:02. That's how close the time span was. did exactly the same thing. Turned bright red, shot into the sky. And he said, now go down to the location and see where it's at. And I went like, okay. So I went down to the location box and punched it up. It was 75 miles from where I was standing. Now, that thing, for them to see something 75 miles from where I was standing and I saw it, that thing had to be so big that I don't even know how you would even calculate the size. Exactly the same thing. They watched it coming in the sky, bright white, stop, turn bright red, shoot straight up into the stars. 1 minute difference, 75 miles away. That's bizarre. That's bizarre. I'll never forget that one.
Goodness. I have a question regarding MUFON from Jeff here. Yeah. And he is asking, after everything that's happened over the last year or so with MUFON, what is your opinion on that? And do you recommend new people joining today's MUFON?
No. It depends. Depending on where they live, there's probably a good group of researchers out there. The only problem I ever had with MUFON was the fact that reports disappeared. Good reports just disappeared, and a few of my own did. So, when people start making reports disappear, they're hiding something for somebody. And, the excuses that came out were just bogus. And with all the stuff that's happened in the last year or two or three, were just not good. And a lot of people left. They just don't want to be associated with that kind of stuff. But they've been very quiet. I don't know how bad their membership suffered. I know at one time they were saying they had 4,500 people in there. That was a lie. They had 1,500 at that point. And then after the first melee went off with the racial stuff, they were down to like under 1,000. And then, of course, you had the director of MUFON trying to meet a young girl at a motel. So, that being said, it was just if that person is interested in getting involved with the group, he can get me on Facebook. That's the best way to get me on Facebook. You can get my email address right there, or you can, phone numbers there, the whole 9 yards, and I'll hook them up with somebody in their area that they can get involved.
Do you think MUFON is walking on its last limbs?
Well, let's just say they're on thin ice. There are just too many issues. People don't want to be involved in stuff like that, or be involved with any organization that has those kind of issues.
Well, it makes sense. I have friends on MUFON. I think we all have friends on MUFON, and it's good people. But, I thought, honestly, after the issues they've had over the last years, that there would be more of a mass exodus.
Well, there was a pretty good exodus. I mean, they lost a lot of people after that last deal.
No, I get that, and I get that they have, but I mean, I don't know what direction they're going in. That I guess
I don't think they do either, Dave.
Do you think? Do you think it's inner turmoil?
Oh, there's a lot in it. There's always been a lot of inner turmoil. I mean, they charge you for everything. I think when I took my investigator's test back in 2007, it cost me like $35. Now it's almost $200. Any group out there, my group or any other group that I'm aware of, they don't charge you anything. Why would you charge anybody anything? You're inviting them in to help them and for them to help you, and they're going to have their equipment. They're going to use your equipment. It's just back and forth, and people don't have that kind of money. I mean, to go to one of, I don't even know if they had a. No, I don't believe they did in 2020 or 2019, and I don't think 2021 is scheduled a MUFON conference. That was big money. You go to a MUFON conference, you were looking at $1,500 to $2,000.
Wow.
Yeah. But I said, I never went.
What scares me about MUFON is I don't want to see their archives go to waste. You know what I'm saying? Like if this group all of a sudden folded, well, there's tens of thousands of reports over the last 50 plus years that could end up in a garbage can. A digital garbage can, but a garbage can nonetheless. And I think, it's a real disservice to this group.
Yeah, that would be a shame, but I would hope, matter of fact, I would really hope that one of the board of directors or somebody would have access to those has been storing them away where they can't be just thrown out the window.
Okay. So if you were to expand UFO Cop across the United States and or North America, what would you do?
As far as
setting up something credible.
Oh, I think that would be too difficult to do. I mean, the expense, the travel, the setting up of groups in every state and insurances, and I think that would pretty much be impossible at this point in time anyway.
Okay. Well, let me rephrase then. If the MUFON board of directors, which for people listening wondering what MUFON is, it's a mutual UFO network. Is it network?
Yeah.
Yeah. If they called you up and said, Butch Witkowski, we want you to straighten us out, get us cleaned up, put us back on top, what would you do?
I think that's beyond that now. I mean, with what happened with the director, I mean, the day it happened, and I got notified by somebody about the pedophile move or whatever you want to call it. I know of 8 people that just quit instantly. They just packed it in right then and there. I don't even know how you'd save anything like that. I mean, they've come close to going under a couple times, not for those issues, but for other issues. And, they got whacked with that racism stuff, and then they got whacked with this pedophile stuff. And, that's the second time they got whacked with pedophile stuff. The one was one of their top-notch researchers that was collecting child porn. But I just don't know how you'd save it. The only international group that I belong to, I belong to local groups. The international group is the Acadamie de Ufologie in France, of which I'm a member, and I've been with them now for 7 years. And it's, I just don't know how you'd even save it. I don't even know where you would start. There's so much turmoil inside that group. This guy don't like that guy, this director don't like this guy, this girl don't like that girl. That's nuts. I have no room in my body for that kind of clown nonsense. In all these years, I only had one guy come on into the group that I got rid of within 2 days, and it was because of his treatment of a witness. And I just said that, no, we don't do that, and you're done. So And that was the only one. But can't have everything, Dave. And, you just got to go out there and try to do the best you can. But, we've helped many researchers, and we don't charge anything. We've never charged anybody a dime for anything. And I just like it that way. We're not beholden to anybody. We haven't had anybody donate a ton of money or anything like that. It's all come out of our own pockets. And it's just the way it is. It's just when you get in all that mishmash back and forth, and this one don't like that, and this group don't like this group, or, they're getting more reports than I am, and you're getting more reports than they are, and, that's crazy. It's just not, that's baby stuff. That's kindergarten. I just don't have time for it. I just, I have days here where nothing's going on, and I have days here where I'm in the library from morning till evening.
My friend, we have 4 minutes left with you tonight, and another show that's flown on by. I want to ask you, in regards to what you're doing to prepare for the run-up on the cryptid times and people staying up late now that it's warming up. It's going to be easier to spend some time outside and take a look around and in the sky above, How do you expect 2021 to go for you now that things are starting to open up south of the border?
Oh, I think they'll be good. It's already started. We've been in contact with a couple other groups that have requested some help, some boots on the ground or information or background research that we could do for them, or video to edit or photographs to edit. So, that stuff is just, that's what we like to do. I always found that helping other people, try to get them to the point where they're trying to get to, has been a real godsend for us because, it works. It just works. And, whether it's me hooking somebody up with another group in their area or helping them with some background research and we've done that for SOAR members. We've had SOAR members contact us for background research or to look at photographs and stuff like that. So, I like it that way. It's being part of a community. And we're not in the same group or anything like that, but we're in that same researcher, investigator community, and I think that's pretty cool.
All right, and with 2 minutes to go, for the people out there listening in Radio Land who are thinking, hey, I'd like to see a Sasquatch or a Dogman or a UFO this year, what's your best advice?
Best advice? Keep track of the groups that are doing that, a lot of that. There's just groups that do nothing but, bipedal and Dogman. There's groups that just do nothing but Bigfoot. Watch those sites. I'm not telling you to join their group or anything like that, but watch the sites. Watch the internet for stuff in your area. Hey, if you live in a state, you put in there and just Google Pennsylvania Bigfoot and see what comes up. Or Pennsylvania UFOs, see what comes up. It might be stuff that you already known, or there's stuff that, you've never heard of before. And it'll give you something to look at. And then you can get right into it. If you need help, you can get me on, best way to get me actually is on Facebook. Or the blog. And those are all listed on Facebook. So it's under Butch Witkowski, it's under U4 Cop, it's under UFO Research Center of Pennsylvania, it's under JAAR Magazine, which is for abductions. So that comes right to me. So sometimes when you send it to the website, that's all screwed up. So that's been hacked so many times I get crazy just thinking about it.
Well, you know what, my friend? It is always a pleasure to have you here on this show because you're always fun, you're always entertaining, and, you always know a good way to work up our audience and let them get worked up with you. And I think you got a lot of support out there.
Oh, that's good. I like to hear that.
Do us a favor, tell people how they can get a hold of you. We got 30 seconds.
Facebook, under Butch Witkowski, all the contact information is there, including phone number and email. Under U4Cop, under UFO Research Center, Pennsylvania, and JAAR Magazine, JAAR, which is our site for abductions. I have one computer, does nothing but pretty much stay on that 24/7, and I get back to people within sometimes minutes, sometimes a couple hours.
Beautiful. Thank you, my friend. Butch Witkowski in Strange Days. We'll talk to Butch at the end of April. Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire. We have the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Rock and roll, buddy. Another good show.
Good.
You have fun?
Yeah.
You're sounding tired.
It was fun.
Are you okay?
It was fun watching the guy that don't like cops.
Oh, I hear you. Take a shot of my Vicks here. There we go. The Vicks inhaler. One of the greatest inventions of all time, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you get off to bed there, brother. And we'll talk very soon.
Care. Stay out of trouble. If you need bail money, give me a call.
Yeah, I think this weekend, if it warms up, because it's supposed to warm up tomorrow, we're supposed to get about, up to 9-10 degrees Celsius here for at least a week. So if it's clear on the weekend, we may take a run to see how far we could get into the forest to see how close we could get to the gifting site.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll let you know how it goes.
Okay.
All right, buddy. Take care.
That works.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Butch Witkowski, everyone. The man, the myth, and the legend all rolled into one. Gotta love him. Gotta love him. Damn it, he's good. Real good radio. The hard part is trying to find something that's going to piss him off before the show, so that way he gets worked up during the show. God, I love that. I love that. He's the best. I have so much admiration and respect for him, man. So much admiration and respect. Good old Butcherino. Hi, Lunar Tina. How are you? Who's on tomorrow night? Good question. Good question. Let me find out for you. Tomorrow night on the show. Tomorrow night it'll be Writers of the Future with John and Emily Goodwin. They're really good people. They're real talented writers. They help judge a book contest on sci-fi and horror and UFOs and everything. So we're going to get into that. I usually bring them on once a year. They're really nice people. It's not a typical conversation, but you guys will have a good time. And then Wednesday night, we have... where did I put that? There it is. Wednesday night is Kathleen Marden talking about the anniversary of Betty and Barney Hill's abduction. That's her aunt and uncle. On Thursday, we have Identifying UFOs with Dr. Michael Masters. And then on Friday, we're going to turn the woo up. It's R. Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. I know how pumped up all of you guys are for that. I know I am. Because it's an R. Keith night, man. You never know where it's going to go on an R. Keith night, that's for sure. Yo, Dave, are you hungry enough to eat breakfast food at this late time? Juliana, come on. Shame. You're better than that. Come on. No, I'm not eating breakfast for this late at night. No way, man. Oh, Juliana, I'm going to shake my finger at you right now. There, take that. Take that. Mm-hmm. Hey, UFO Not. Now, Juliana, I know that was strict. You know? But, man. No, I can't have pancakes either. That's breakfast food. Hey, Anya, how are you? It's my favorite Anya in the world right there. Favorite Anya in the world. Oh, I could use some Eggs Benedict tomorrow morning. Well, that's cool, UFO Not. Hey, at least I'm pronouncing your name right now, Anya. All right, 20 seconds. Big thanks to TH, Wagon Breath, Reverend Keith, Cat Chaser, Fapster, Science Bob, Cherry Pepsi Mike, and Dark Hour for the amazing super chats tonight. We love you. Thank you for the support. Here we go, everyone. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am Dave Scott, the guy behind the microphone. And I want to say thank you so much for tuning us in. I want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news, let's do this thing. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the cryptid. The Loch Ness Monster has reportedly been seen for a 5th time this year already after a dark shape appeared on the surface of the water. According to the official Loch Ness Monster Sightings Register, the elusive creature was spotted when the shape moved across the famous loch for a few minutes before disappearing behind a tree. Monster spotter Kaylin Wangle posted a clip on YouTube after capturing it while watching a webcam of the loch on St. Patrick's Day. The American Nessie fanatic wrote, at 6:15 p.m., a very large dark shape appears to be swimming from left to right at very close to the front of the shore. It seems to be making a wave for a bit and either surfaces for a second or just under the surface. Kaylin, who has posted several sightings using the webcam on her Team Nessie channel, added a few minutes later the mysterious shadow moved behind a tree on the foreshore and doesn't pop back up. She then confirmed that it now has been listed as the 5th official sighting of the year. One YouTuber response, it was similar. It's basically said both shape and size to their sighting last April, while another added that due to the terrible quality of the webcam, no identification can be confidently put forward, adding, I want this to be Nessie, but I reckon it's a natural phenomena. According to the register, there were 13 confirmed sightings of Nessie last year, including one recorded through sonar. The world-famous monster is estimated to be in around 41 million pounds to the... Hold on, let me restart that. The world-famous monster is estimated to bring in around 41 million pounds to the Scottish economy through tourism. The keeper of Register of Sightings, Gary Campbell, recently explained that it was becoming more and more common for the webcam to be used for sightings, though some have questioned why there aren't more closer to the water. He added there is a strict process for ruling out false sightings, including checking for nearby boats, birds, and bugs on webcam lenses. Perhaps predictably, with the pandemic and the lack of tourist activity in the area, all 5 of this year's official sightings have come from the webcam, with Kaylin recording the first sighting of the year on the cameras. Longtime Nessie watcher Aaron O'Fagan from Donegal in Ireland spotted the other 3. Man, 3 sightings of that. That would be cool. That would be cool. I'd like to see that. I wouldn't go in the lake. Oh, hell no. Not a chance. I'd still like to see one. That would be kind of cool. A Massachusetts woman noticed something strange about the for sale sign outside a home in her neighborhood. On top of the sign with the name of the broker and their contact information was a sign with the words, "Not haunted," in big red letters. This just went up around the corner, and I have so many questions. Margot Bloomstein wrote in a tweet this week that included an image of the sign. The house is west of Boston, but Bloomstein didn't want to say exactly where to respect the homeowner's privacy. But she did reach out to the local real estate agency to learn more about the sign. They knew nothing about it either. The consensus is that the sign is a prank, maybe played by a ghost with a sense of humor. Who knows? You know, that's one of the big questions that I know in Canada here, at least in British Columbia, it does not have to be disclosed whether or not a home is haunted. I know in the States, in some states, that it is legal or illegal to withhold information like that. What do you think? Do you think that a home should be disclosed whether or not it's haunted? Especially if it's an older home, maybe a historic home. Maybe if it's older than a certain age, like 40 years, 50 years, 60? That's a good question. Would you buy a home if it was haunted? Now, if you're listening to this show, the answer is probably, oh, heck yeah. Oh, heck yeah. But for a lot of people, they may not know. It's interesting, isn't it? The big realty conundrum. Is this house haunted or is it not? All right, let's move on here. Ingenuity, a small robotic helicopter currently attached to NASA's Perseverance rover, will attempt the first powered flight on another planet in just over a week. The 4-pound rotorcraft is attached to the belly of Perseverance, which touched down on Mars on February 18th. Ingenuity is now uncocooned from its carbon fiber shield that acted as a protective case during the landing and is set for deployment from April 8th, says NASA. But before it can track the first flight of an aircraft on the red planet, Perseverance needs to drop off Ingenuity in a clear, safe area that will become the first Martian helipad. Ingenuity carries a small amount of fabric that covered one of the wings of the Wright brothers aircraft known as the Flyer during the first powered controlled flight on Earth back in 1903. Aptly named Ingenuity is a technology demonstration that aims to be the first powered flight on another world, said Lori Glaze, director of Planetary Science Division at NASA headquarters. If successful, it could further expand our horizons and broaden the scope of what is possible with Mars exploration. Before an Ingenuity takes place, its first flight on Mars, it must be squarely in the middle of the airfield, a 33 by 33 foot patch of flat Martian land, which is currently making its way towards. Once the helicopter, the rover teams confirm that Perseverance is situated exactly where they want it to be inside this airfield, the process to deploy the helicopter on the Martian surface begins. As with everything with the helicopter, this type of deployment has never been done before, said Farah Alibay, Mars helicopter integration lead for Perseverance rover. Once we start the deployment, there is no turning back. All activities are closely coordinated, irreversible, and dependent on each other. If there is even a hint that something isn't going as expected, we may decide to hold off for a sol or a Martian day or more until we have a better idea of what's going on. The helicopter deployment process will take about 6 sols, which equates to 6 days, 4 hours on Earth. On the first sol, the team on Earth will activate a bolt-breaking device, releasing a locking mechanism that helped hold the helicopter firmly against the rover's belly during the launch and Mars landing. The following sol, they will be firing a cable-cutting pyrotechnic device, enabling the mechanism arm that holds Ingenuity to begin rotating the helicopter out of its horizontal position. The rotorcraft will also extend 2 of its 4 landing legs. During the third sol, a small electric motor will finish rotating Ingenuity until it latches, bringing the helicopter completely vertical, and on the fourth sol, the final 2 landing legs will snap into position. On each of those 4 sols, the wide-angle topographic sensor for operations and engineering, otherwise known as Watson Imager, will take confirmation shots of Ingenuity as it unfolds into its flight configuration. Is anybody else excited about this? I'm totally geeked out for this. I really am. This is going to be incredible. Absolutely incredible. In its final position, by the way, the helicopter will hang suspended at about 5 inches over the Martian surface. At that point, only a single bolt and a couple of dozen tiny electrical contacts will be connected to the helicopter to Perseverance. On the 5th sol of deployment, the team will use the final opportunity to make use of Perseverance as a power source and charge Ingenuity's 6 battery cells. Once deployed, Ingenuity will have 30 Martian days, known as sols, that's 31 days on Earth, to conduct its initial test flights. I am pumped up about this. Totally pumped up. Well, this lady is a keeper. This lady is a complete keeper. A woman said she had the worst date ever after socially distanced walking turned into a drowning dog rescue mission. Yes, Lizzie Johnson from Walton-on-Thames, Surrey, met a man on Tinder and suggested they go on a stroll, having clocked his boxer dog. However, it later transpired that the pup had never seen water before, and it promptly jumped into the River Mole, sending the owner into a flap. The mum of 2 realized she had no choice but to clamber in and save the dog. 37-year-old Lindsay said, as the dog jumped in, he just panicked and was like, "Oh my God, my dog's never been in the water before." I had to pull the dog out because the owner was too busy flipping out. I took a step to the left in the bank and went in even deeper below my boobs, so I had to work out how to get out from there. I was wearing mini-heeled boots, so luckily I had some grip and managed to get my legs quite high above the river water and hook onto a twig, dug in my hands into the bank to find something to grip onto. Thankfully, the pooch was okay, but Lizzie was left in an all-right state. Little muddy, little dirty. The pharmacy dispenser said I got out and asked if my makeup was okay, and he was like, "Yes, it's fine." When I looked in the mirror at home, I had mud on my face. We walked past quite a few families, and they looked at me like, "What have you been doing?" He was like, "I was going to go in. You didn't need to do that. I was going to go empty my pockets and then lie down on the bank and pull them out." I guess he was trying to be logical, whereas she was like, "There's a dog in the river drowning. The dog needs to come out now before it dies." This could be quite amusing. How did you guys first meet? But unfortunately, Lizzie, well, she's not too impressed with the dude. She's glad about that. She's not going to go on a date number 2. She said, "Thank God I didn't like him. I would have been horrified if I did. He looked like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. He had the same haircut. Probably the worst date ever. Maybe because I wasn't feeling him as well, it wasn't a great date. It was my first socially distanced kind of date, and I'm just going to wait until things resume so I can be taken out for a nice glass of wine. Dog walks are definitely out of the picture now." I'm sure she's going to get a lot of traction for that. I really do. Hey, talk about roid rage. A 30-year-old Italian bodybuilder has confessed to killing his parents because they called him a failure and asked him to wake up and walk their dog. Yeah, Benno Numier said to police he killed his mother, Laura, and his father, Peter, in Bolzano in January. Numier had apparently been called out by his father for falling asleep after playing on his computer and for not helping out enough around the house. Heaven forbid if a child should help the parents around the house. Talk about the rules. Come on, Mom. Come on, Dad. Can't you see I'm gaming here? Numier allegedly strangled his father to shut him up. I took the first climbing rope I found from a plastic tray of my tools. We were in the hallway and we fell together on the ground. I just remember that I squeezed very tightly. When his mom got home, Benno, well, he's done it once, so he did it again. He strangled her, too. I did it without even saying goodbye, he reportedly said to police, adding that he threw their bodies off a bridge in the river. Nice son. Very nice son. Numier is being held on charges of murder and body concealment. Let's hope he gets a long time. He's a sicko. A Japanese man who started work at a hospital chaplain, or as a hospital chaplain in Minnesota in 2020, says his appeal for paper cranes to decorate the hospital for COVID has resulted in more than 16,000 origami birds arriving. Pastor Kazuhiro Sakino, who started work at the Abbott Northwestern Hospital in Minneapolis in July last year, said his appeal for paper cranes stemmed from his initial encounter with a coronavirus patient at the facility. I was super scared. Of course, it was recommended I wear a gown, gloves, goggles, and a hard face mask. My language was limited because of the hard face mask, and time was limited. So that's why I got the idea that if I can make a paper crane as a Japanese chaplain and hand him as a symbol of healing and hope, it may work. Sakino said origami cranes are a symbol of healing in Japanese culture. In Japan, making a paper crane, especially collecting 1,000 paper cranes tied together, it is an intense prayer for healing and seeking peace. Sakino posted a video on YouTube asking his followers to send him paper cranes for the hospital. I thought maybe I'd get 200. Chaplain said. He was shocked by the number that he received. Some schools and communities started making them together with so many people, it's amounted to over 16,000, which he never expected. Most of the cranes are now on display at the hospital, hanging from the ceiling in the main lobby. The hospital is not a super fun place to visit. They're looking down because there are so many emotional distress to visit the hospital. But once they step into the hospital, the first thing they see is a paper crane, so they can look up and see something that they didn't expect. That's good humanity right there. High-quality humanity. An 8-year-old California Girl Scout, she must have got help from her parents on this one. Well, she set a record by selling 32,484 boxes of Girl Scout cookies in a single season. Lily Bumpus, a brownie who overcame a form of cancer known as Ewing's sarcoma when she was a toddler, sold the cookies from a booth set up outside her San Bernardino home and collected orders online, many of which were donation orders for patients at various children's hospitals in the area. A lot of people approached us saying we must have gotten a big business or sponsors or something along those lines. But no, she did it honestly. She did it big time. The biggest order was 100 boxes. Lily reached 32,000 boxes out of everyone seeing value in buying 1 box, 2 boxes, 4 boxes, and everybody working together to try and be a small piece of a really big puzzle. That, to me, is magical, the little one says. Bumpus' Girl Scout troop, which is composed largely of cancer survivors, girls currently undergoing cancer treatment, and children who have lost loved ones to the incident, or the illness rather, gathered outside her home March 22nd to unveil her sales total, 32,484 boxes. Good for her. Bauer said, the girl, I was still short of the previous record, 26,086, just 1 week before the season ended. She sold her freaking heart out till the last day of Girl Scout cookie season, Bauer said. We boothed 11 hours straight outside our house, sold 500 boxes in one day. It's Lily being Lily. She does it like nobody else does because she thinks it's all possible. Good for her. Good for her. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air while we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. What are your plans for the Easter long weekend? Jeremy, apparently my wife told me I'm remodeling our kitchen, so yeah, she's recovered from COVID. Mark in Australia, I will be listening to Spaced Out Radio and catching up on other shows. Jen, going to have a look at the calendar. I didn't know that a holiday weekend was coming up. Look at that beautiful surprise, Jen. Look at that. Twin Rose, working my last Friday and Saturday nights at least for 6 months at the job I started at the top of the year. Cherry Pepsi Mike, praying for the second resurrection to end this dumpster fire. Craig says, I'll take 3 days of less COVID surge. Linda, fun weekend, endoscopy Friday, and barium swallow fluoroscopy Monday. Somehow that just doesn't seem appetizing. 13 Ballads, erotic paranormal disco pop. Disco pop. Wow. Listening to Boney M's Rasputin. I like that song. I do. It's old school. Fantastic. And learning how to make puppets. Bruce, I was thinking of dying and coming back, but probably just honey ham and potatoes. Science Bob, I'm seeing kids and grandkids and traveling for the first time. Davey, family time and a long bike ride with my best mate. Kimberly, movies, chocolate, snacks, reading. It's all relaxation. Merle. Yes, Merle chimed in. I'm working. Life of a shift worker. Superlen. I'm tormenting you, Dave. Oh, not just yet, Superlen. Not just yet. Bobby. Make sure it rubs the lotion on its skin, or else it gets the hose again. Lisa's working. Jaretta's recovering from surgery. Kevin. Dave, we have moved into the age of Aquarius. Are there groups who still celebrate the holidays of the fish people? Joshua. Party with family. So far we have 60 plus coming for the cookout. Vivster in Edmonton. Having dinner at my son and daughter-in-law's place and get to be with my grandkids. That's beautiful. Danny, sadly, I might be working Saturday and Easter Sunday. We really don't do anything on Easter anyways, but I definitely don't want to be working. Thank you to everybody taking part in the Thought of the Dave. If you're wondering what I'm going to be doing, probably editing, probably internet stuff, probably radio stuff, probably playing on my side-by-side to see if we can get into the forest. However, I think the heavy snow is still out there to haunt us for at least another few weeks. Anyways, thank you to Captain Shirk for the SOR Newswire, as she keeps us jam-packed and up-to-date on a nightly basis. And, of course, to Mr. Butch Witkowski from UFOcop.com. And Strange Days, Butch will be back next month. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother Is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight on Spreaker, YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
make a mistake. We're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night.